You hear me, Chris?
I
Kurt?
can. How we doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I am doing good. You're okay with being recorded?
Yep, I'm good.
I had one of our other accelerant partners. I was meeting with her on Zoom the other day, and she's like, you do all your follow-ups by Zoom. Why don't you just record them and put them out as a podcast, and you guys can kind of promote each other's business?
Oh,
Like,
wow.
great idea, right? So
Right.
you are my second podcast recording here. I got my virtual assistant working on some software so we can upload these and kind of splice and dice and try to make that happen. But I
Okay.
thought it'd be kind of fun to just try to keep this to 30 minutes, and I'll keep an eye on the clock for us. We can
Okay.
wrap up by 3:30. But what I want to do is ask you a bunch of questions, get caught up with you, what's going on at work, talk a little personal as well, kind of see what's going on there, and have you
Yeah.
kind of kick it back to me same way so I can kind of relate what I do to what you do so we can try to tie things together a little bit and then just kind of wrap it up and let you get back to work. Sound good?
I like it.
Sweet. All right.
All right.
So that being said, hey, do me a favor. Give me your name and the company you work for.
My name is Cody Barber. I am with Manufacturers Floor Covering Outlet, MFCO Flooring for short.
Got it. What do you do for them?
I am one of their sales representatives, one of three sales representatives that we have here.
Okay.
I'm the longest tenured one. I do a bit
Oh,
more on the retail side. Zach, one
okay.
of our other guys, does a little bit more on the commercial side, but we're
Gotcha.
both capable of doing both.
That's awesome. And you guys are now, I was going to say recent, newer partners to Accelerate. What's it been? 6 months?
Not quite. I believe it was April.
April?
I
Okay.
believe it was April. Yeah,
I
that
remember
we
I'm
joined.
thinking the first time we connected, I think we were sitting outside having a cigar at Castro's, and it was a
Yes.
little warm inside. So we ended up sitting outside and kind of enjoying that. So
Yep.
that's been a good deal. So what's been going on work-wise for you guys? Are you guys staying busy? Summertime slow for you?
You know what? Even though the residential side slows down a little bit on the summertime, we still do enough of the commercial to keep us busy.
Got it.
Commercial is one of those things that doesn't, it just always seems to keep on moving. Where the
Got it. It's not
residential side,
seasonal.
the residential side is a lot of, seasonal stuff. A lot of people don't like to have their homes torn apart in the middle of
Sure.
the summertime, which is understandable.
Right.
Um, but a lot of it, is dictated by what the market's doing,
Sure.
and stuff like that. Like obviously, whenever as the rate's a little bit higher, so people aren't quite buying as much,
Uh-huh.
or not as much refinancing, people pulling out money to do remodels.
Right.
That being said, we've done a very good job of targeting like property managers,
Okay.
realtors, people that are just always in the game.
Got
Property
it.
managers, there's always people moving out and they're always having to
Right.
put new stuff in for the
There you go.
new tenants. So, and then realtors, same way, they, a lot of times they need new flooring
Right.
to sell a house, or whoever the buyer is, a lot of
Yeah.
time wants, to put new stuff in before they move in. So
Right.
we can kind of capitalize on both ends of it.
There you go. Very cool. Who's a really good referral source for you? You mentioned property managers, realtors. Who else would be a good referral
Yeah,
partner for you or somebody to refer business in?
those are the two like big ones. Like if I had like an ideal one, but honestly, in the end, it's really any homeowner.
Okay.
Anybody who owns a home, anybody who's buying a home, anybody who's selling a home, um, anybody that just
That
needs
walks
to
on the floor.
update their home. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Got it. And how else do you guys market yourselves? I don't see commercials for you guys, or am I missing those?
No, not at all. In fact,
No. Okay.
our accelerant is really the biggest marketing advertising thing that
Okay.
we've ever done. We don't run commercials. In
Okay.
fact, if you see our store, it has very minimal. Even though we have a nice showroom on the inside,
Okay.
um, the outside it just says MFCO Flooring. It says carpet on one side. It says tile on the other. They just
Okay.
that. And it goes back to the previous owners, because the owners now, Brandon and Jonah, they took over in 2019. But
Okay.
the old owner had the business for 35 years, somewhere
Oh,
around there, and
wow.
he just
Really?
never wanted it to get any bigger than he couldn't, handle.
Easily managed,
Brandon and
right?
Jonah were his only two employees. So
Oh, no
whenever,
kidding.
yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
other than installers, which are their subs, but
Right.
Brandon and Jonah were
Contractors.
two, the only two employees he had. So when it came for him to
Okay.
retire, they just teamed up, bought it, and then
That's
brought me
awesome.
in shortly afterwards.
Okay. That's great. So give whoever's watching this an idea of the inside. What do they want to make sure that they're asking if they're getting quotes for flooring? I mean, whether it's, luxury vinyl or whether it's tile or whether it's
Mhm.
carpeting, what's trending right now? And then what are the differences between? And where do you find that the folks that are less reputable are taking advantage of some of the folks out there? Do we make sure that anybody who's watching this doesn't get taken advantage of?
Well, I mean, I found one of one of the things I think I'm really good at is being honest with the customers. Like I'm not gonna BS them. I'm gonna, if they tell me they want, carpet or vinyl in a house, but they have 8 kids and three giant dogs and two gorillas and an elephant live in the house, I'm gonna be like, you know what? You may want to look at tile because it's gonna stand up a lot better than
Right.
this stuff. You're gonna end up
Okay.
scratching it quite a bit. So
Got
I've
it.
always kind of prided myself on being honest with people, even if it's something
Good.
that they don't necessarily want to hear.
All
So
right. Yeah, sometimes giving the
yeah,
bad news about it, I would imagine that's going to be more expensive, but in the long run, probably does a better job for them. That
most people are appreciative of it instead of me just trying to sell them something.
Right. Okay. So
Mhm.
tell me about the sales process for when you get a phone call, you get a referral. How does that typically go?
So the first thing I do is set up a time to go out and take measurements.
Okay.
We're still old school. Like I got my graph paper and I'm like literally
Okay.
drawing it out to the inch. Um, if a customer can't make it into our store, let's say, because I run into it a lot of times with people who are like on the other side of town or
Okay.
even like the elderly, it's tough for them to get in.
And
I'll
you're in
talk to them
Tempe,
and
right?
we're in Tempe, so we're
Okay.
fairly centrally located,
Yeah.
but it's a big town. Peoria is 45 miles away in some
Yeah,
areas.
sure.
I'll talk to them, and then if they can give me an idea of what they're looking for,
Okay.
I'll load up my car with samples and
Oh,
take it
cool.
out to them.
Okay.
So trying to keep them from having to make that trip if it's possible.
Got
I
it.
do always encourage them to come in just so they can see everything. And obviously, I can only carry so many things in my car,
Of course.
but that's one of the things that we offer. So I'll go out
Okay.
there. I'm the one that does all the measuring, uh,
Okay.
trying to get them into a product, price it all out for them, scheduling the installs and the demos,
Okay.
and really the only part I don't do is the actual installation
Okay.
itself. We have specialists for everything. I have, carpet installers, we have tile installers, we have vinyl and laminate installers.
Got
So
it. Okay. And these are typically subs, right? So these guys aren't working as employees of your company. You contract with these professionals that specialize in this. Is that right?
that's correct.
Okay.
I hate to use the word subs, but technically they are because they all have their own like side business.
Okay.
And we don't, if we don't know somebody and we don't know their work, we don't use them.
Sure. Yeah, it's a relationship
Almost,
business, right?
we're not in the
It's
business of doing bad work. It's not
right.
about, I don't want those headaches. I
Sure.
want good installers that
Well,
can,
that's it.
take care of the job and, you
Reputation's
know,
important. Yeah.
so that kind of thing. Even though they're subs, again, we only use guys that we know and that we know they're going to do a good job because that's
Got
our
it.
names behind it. So
Okay. So what about demo? Someone's got tile now, maybe there's our Saltillo tile from 40 years ago that's still on the
yeah.
floor in the house, and they're worried about the demo to get it all out, the dust, the dirt, the days it's going to take for that. Are there
Mhm.
opportunities for them to lay over the top of that? Or you're like, no, that's got to come out. We got to get reset,
A
we got
lot
to
of
float it back out. What's typical
it,
there?
a lot of it depends on what's going in. Like you can't do tile on top of tile. You
Okay.
can do vinyl plank over the top of tile.
Oh, really?
Um,
Okay.
yeah, I don't really recommend it. I always like going from the concrete from the ground
Sure.
up because if you go over the top of tile and that tile starts to pop up in a year or two, then it's going to take that vinyl with you.
Got it.
Um, but we also do because a lot of people will be worried about, say, the dust and stuff that comes
Uh-huh.
with tearing up tile. We have crews that are like 99% dust free, and it's
Really?
not that much more than standard tile
Okay.
demo, which can be a nightmare if you've ever been into a house where they tore up tile.
I
Like
have. Yeah.
just when you think you've cleaned it all up, the AC kicks on and you're cleaning it for another 3 months.
Exactly. Exactly.
So
What a
we have
nightmare.
options for that kind of stuff, and we kind of go
Okay.
over all the different options with the customers as
Got it.
well.
So you're going out to the house, you're sitting down, you're kind of laying out the job, you're giving suggestions, you're bringing samples out,
Yep.
you're giving a bid at that point. From the point where somebody says, "Hey, this is what we want to do," how quickly can you get something installed?
Um, it depends. We carry stuff in stock where
Okay.
at that point it's just a matter of getting an installer lined up. I mean, there's a lot of times if it's say carpet, because
Yeah.
carpet's a lot easier than the other hard surfaces. A lot of times we can do that stuff the next day, or
Really?
we usually are within a couple of days sometimes if they're
Okay.
ready to go that quick. But
Wow.
our in stock stuff is just a matter of getting an installer free. The special orders are usually right around a week to get in.
For a special order.
Yeah, yeah, because
Wow.
a lot of it comes from a lot of it's either in Phoenix, just needing to be transferred over,
Okay.
and a lot of it's from
Okay.
California, and then Georgia sometimes too. So it's never more than like 5 business days
Wow.
to get it
Okay.
transferred over. But we can always schedule, usually within 24 hours of me placing an order,
Okay.
I can have I get an ETA, so I can just schedule, a day or two after that.
Got it. Okay. Very cool. Um,
Yeah.
I was going to ask a question about what about like furniture removal? We got older clients that, they can't be moving their furniture
Yeah.
around. They've got all of that. How does that come into play with you? Do you refer to somebody? Do you contract that out? Do the installers take care of some of that for the demo?
Yeah, well, we do offer moving furniture moving.
Okay.
We are not a professional moving company. Like
Okay.
whenever we move furniture, they basically move from room to room. We're not a pack out
Okay.
crew where they move wrap everything in blankets, put outside the pot, something like that. I would recommend Poindexter,
Got it.
a company
Yeah.
like that can
Index
actually do
moving.
something like that.
Got
But
it. Okay.
um, for the most part, it's just kind of a juggling game. But that is definitely a service that we offer.
Okay. I mean, you guys are soup to nuts, right? I mean, you can come in and do it all, get it scheduled, get it done quick.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
pretty much everything. Or if somebody has their own contractor or installer, they can just buy material
Okay.
from us as well.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So if they've got somebody that will do the install, they can come to you just buy the materials, have their installers come pick it up, and be good to go.
Yes, sir.
Wow, very cool. Okay. What give us a little peek behind the scenes? Like what do people want to be looking for or be concerned about if they're getting a bid from somebody that yeah, it just feels a little fishy. Where do the numbers, where do the overpromising, where does that typically take place with some of the less reputable companies?
I I I'm not sure if I'm answering it the right way, but I always tell people to make sure it's like an apples to apples quote. And again, going back to being honest with them, I will
Yeah.
tell them like, tell me where I need to be at, and if I can do it, I'll do it.
Okay.
Um, if somebody else has like a great deal and I just can't touch it, I'll tell them like jump on it,
Okay.
buy it now before,
All right.
So
Got it. Okay. So it's still, if it sounds too good to be true, maybe it is, but run it by you to make sure that you're getting
there,
apples to apples.
yeah, yeah. I mean, some of the big, the people with the catchy jingle and stuff you hear like radio ads, they're kind of um, like the higher pressure salespeople, I guess you could say.
Okay.
And we're definitely not like that. We're
Got
definitely
it.
not like that.
Okay. A little more easygoing, not
Yeah.
expecting to, yeah, get
No,
high
everybody
pressured on
has
that.
my cell phone number and they can contact me at any time.
That's
It's not
awesome.
like you're calling a box store and,
Right.
somebody from lumber is answering the phone and trying to answer your questions, stuff like
Got
that.
it.
So
Deal with the experts on this. For
yeah,
my business, it's people
yep,
buying houses, right? People selling
yep,
houses on that end. So if I've got a buyer looking to close end of the month and they can get you in before closing to look at a bid, or maybe during the home inspection, and they're
yep,
like, "Hey, Cody, can you come over? We're going to be doing a home inspection for this 3 hour window. Can you get over? Can you take some measurements so that we can try to make some decisions?" I would imagine most of my clients would love to have the flooring in before they move in, given the choice. And we're
yes,
getting a lot of concessions from sellers that's freeing up some cash from our buyers of paying closing costs. So now they've got a little more money in their pocket to be giving you a call saying, "Hey, listen, it would, the 1970 shag rug or the saltillo tile or the whatever, and we don't want to have our stuff in there beforehand, you know." Can we
yeah.
get that scheduled a couple weeks in advance? Can you get the materials? Can you get the crews going? Is that like an ultimate situation for you where you know a few weeks in advance what you're putting in, when you need to be there and set the crew up? Or would you rather wait till after it's closed?
No, what you were just talking about, I do that quite often.
Really?
where
Okay.
where I'll meet out there the same time during an inspection, or I'll meet the realtor out there.
Okay.
I just a couple hours ago, I met with a gentleman who's getting the keys this Friday to a property that I measured up last week,
Okay.
just finalizing everything like that. So he's got like a week from the time he gets the keys to actually moving in. So,
Okay.
he's running around trying to get everything lined up and everything so
Sure.
he can have it before he has to be out of his current house
Got it.
into the new one. But yeah, that's something that I deal with actually quite often, quite
Okay.
often. So
So yeah, I don't know the answer to this. Is it paint before flooring or flooring before paint?
90% of the time is painting first.
Paint before
Uh,
flooring. Okay.
Paint before flooring. For the simple fact, especially if you're doing carpet or something like that, you don't
Yeah.
want other trades on your brand new floor.
God forbid. Right.
Things
Yep.
happen, accidents happen. Now, there are
Got
certain
it.
times where the painter might not like it because they might have to come do some touch up in some areas, especially if we're
Yeah.
doing, say, vinyl plank where we have to pop the baseboards off and put them back on
Okay.
again. A
Yeah.
lot of times that requires touch up.
Some
So
touch up. Okay.
the painter might say differently sometimes, but
All
for the
right.
most part, it's carpet last.
Carpet, flooring last.
Or flooring last, yeah.
Flooring last, paint first. Okay. So if they're going to if I got some clients and they're thinking, hey, it needs to be freshened up. The sellers didn't paint it beforehand. We definitely want to take a look at some flooring. And so they can get you guys lined up. I would imagine. I mean, we got a great painting crew and Envision Painting that are
Hmm.
members of our Accelerant networking. Accelerant. Um, what does Scott like to call it? Our business development
Yeah.
platform, right? Within Accelerant. So I would imagine you can work well when there's a painting company, when there's a contractor to get things lined up so they know when you're going to be in, when you're going to be out, when they're going to be able to get in, especially if there's, let's just say, a week between closing and move in. You can help to coordinate all that.
Oh yeah. A lot of times, like we were saying, if we meet up at if I meet the realtor and the home buyer at an inspection, they're also going to have their other trades there a lot of times as well, and a lot of times
Got
it's a
it.
painter. So we can kind of
Okay.
coordinate and put our heads together and come up with a plan.
Got it. Okay. I can see that making it a lot easier on the client. Know that it's all going to get done. It's going to be fresh. When the moving truck shows up or when they roll in to move in, man, it's looking fresh. It's flooring looks great, untouched. Paint looks good, and whatever other work they're having done can be done beforehand. Um, let's see. I can't think of what else I should be asking. Well, what do you find that some of the more common questions are that I haven't asked yet?
Um, I think you've done a good job of covering a lot. I mean, yeah, I mean, I think we try to be as easy as possible to work with.
Okay.
We get that a lot. Get that a lot. We're not complicated. We're straight up, and it's really not rocket science.
Okay.
It's just a big part of my job is answering my phone and being available for customers to
There you
answer
go.
their questions and stuff, because a lot of people they don't know the processes and they have a lot of
Right.
questions and stuff like that, and just doing my
Hmm.
best to accommodate them
Awesome.
is a big thing. So
Well, I hear nothing but great things about you guys from all of our Accelerate partners, and the work that you're doing, and we have our home improvement subgroup gets together, and we're working hard at trying to make sure that all of our clients, amongst us, get a chance to experience the services that our other accelerator partners get a chance to about, whether it's the painting or the flooring or the mortgage or the real estate, of course, with the S14. They do such a great job down there at Compass, and all that, which is awesome. Well, good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, very cool.
So tell me what's new with you since the last time we talked.
Yeah. Interest rates going down, and that's probably the biggest news. We're seeing that there's a lot of we had a lot of news a couple of weeks ago when the Fed came out, a week ago, 2 weeks ago today now,
Yeah.
and decided not to lower the federal funds rate, which we were really hoping that they'd give us at least a sniff at something, right? But unfortunately, they decided to hold firm because they believed at the time that the labor numbers were very strong. And then with inflation being low and labor being strong, there didn't seem like a really good reason to lower the interest rates. And then 2 days later, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the BLS, comes out with numbers that are way lower than the market was expecting. And then they revised numbers from 2 and 3 months before that, way lower. So the decision not to lower the federal funds rate, which would have affected mortgage rates and credit card rates and home equity rates and car loan rates, just 2 days prior, they didn't have the data they needed to make the correct decision. And so when the numbers came out, and it was obvious that the labor market is softening, which is typically what the Fed would then do is lower the federal funds rate. Well, they don't meet again for 6 weeks. So kind of as a result of that, the 10-year Treasury dropped, mortgage interest rates dropped. So right now we're sitting in the low 6% on a 30-year fix, where just a couple of months ago, not even that, we were over 7%. So we've actually seen a drop in interest rates of almost 1% to the low 6% for a 30-year fixed. FHAs are in the high 5% range. And that FHA is that perfect first-time buyer price point, where probably a $400,000 house, let's say 350 to 450 price point, you can get into that house for just 3% down. And there's a lot of those houses on the market right now. We are expecting, I mean, we're kind of chomping at the bit here, ready to be let off the reins and run if we get those interest rates down below 6% for a 30-year fix. With all the inventory out there, with the sellers being a little desperate to sell, the house has been on the market all summer. They haven't gotten an offer. The sellers are willing to give concessions, and they can give concessions to pay for closing costs. They can buy down the interest rate. They're willing to do improvements on properties. I had a property recently where the client wanted, what ended up happening was we had more in concessions from the seller than we could spend. And so we literally had about $1,200 more in concessions that had been negotiated than we could actually spend based on the loan rule. So they called a painting company, unbeknownst to me. Unfortunately, it was after the fact. I couldn't refer them over to our folks at Envision, but they said, "Hey, listen, we're going to have the seller repaint these the 3 bedrooms because we want those fresh for the kids and for us. So we're going to have that done prior to moving in." So we negotiated for the seller to pay that for us beforehand. It was like, phew. So, man, there's a lot of homes in that lower price point that are out there and available, and the sellers are willing to give concessions to get them sold quick. So, again, we're kind of sitting back. It's the dog days of summer. Things are a little quiet still, and we're kind of thinking things are about to pop. And when housing pops, it affects, of course, my business, the appraiser, the title company, the home inspector, all of the home improvement contractors like you guys and the painting companies and the subs that are doing, room additions and remodels and all of that becomes, it just, we keep hearing that this market is poised to just absolutely take off. And if those rates drop, and hang on, because I think it's going to be a fun ride into the fall. Fingers crossed, knocking on wood, because we've been poised for this now for a couple of years. So with any luck, we'll see things really be ready to take off here in the fall.
Right on. No, I'm glad to hear that. I've always been under the impression once we get close to that hit that 5s, that might be that magic number that and everything flips. All of a sudden, right now, like you were saying, it's the buyer's market. Sellers are having to concessions and stuff like that. But once everybody starts buying again, it's going to be completely opposite. And, if it gets down low enough, now we're dealing with the situation like, a few years ago when you had to have more than So,
Exactly. Now you got cash offers coming in. You got people waiving appraisal contingencies, waiving inspection contingencies, all of those kind of things. I always felt really bad for my clients a few years ago when their biggest issue was getting a house under contract. Christopher, we've made 5 offers. We can't get anybody to accept our offer. It's like, well, that's the market we're in. It's a seller's market, or it was. Now things have flipped. And it's like nobody knows when the bottom is there until you've turned the corner, right? Until values actually start going up again. Because
yeah,
we're seeing values really soft right now. We're seeing less than 95% of list price is what houses are going for, and the seller's giving concessions off of that. I've got a deal right now. It's a $825,000 sales price with $20,000 of concessions, meaning that the seller is giving another 20 grand of their proceeds to the buyer to pay all of the closing costs and then buying down the interest rate for 2 years by
yeah,
$500 a month. So the buyer's going to walk into this thing with a great interest rate for the first year, or first 2 years, all of their closing costs paid. So now they can think about, man, you know what? If we're not paying $7,000 or $8,000 in closing costs, we can afford to new flooring. We can afford the new paint, all the things that we were going to do over time with sweat equity, and we can do that right away before we even move in. So, that money that's being saved now by the buyer from the sellers paying concessions is money that could be used for the home improvements, for the stuff that you guys do. So
right.
we're really trying to get our clients in front of you earlier in the process before we get closer to closing. Get the appraisal done, get the home inspection done, and let's take a look at what needs to be done and get the seller to do it. Good look at things we want to have done, and let's get those contractors out there to get some bids on it and see if we can get that thing done before we even move in. So that's kind of where the market is right now, kind of where we're expecting. We need more
Okay.
first-time buyers to make that decision that it's time to buy. It's time to stop renting. I know you're paying $2,300 a month in rent, and the mortgage is going to be $2,800, but a year from now and 2 years from now, and when I can refinance that rate and get rid of the mortgage insurance, you're going to be thanking your lucky stars that you jumped in and bought sooner than later, because
Right.
the longer you wait, the less money you're going to make on it over time.
Yeah.
And
The price of housings are never going to go down to what they used to be.
oh
It's
no,
just
right?
so. I totally understand that. So
That's the
it sounds
reality.
like
Yeah.
the next 2 years could be
Fingers
fingers
crossed, man.
crossed.
We are. Yeah. I mean, I've done this for over 30 years, and I love what I do. And I've seen these cycles come and go.
Yeah.
And I just feel like we're starting to build, like the wave is starting to crest a little bit, where it's like, okay, all we need is about a 0.5%. If we get those 50 basis points, that 0.5% drop in September when the Fed meets again, I feel like the barn door is going to bust open, and it's going to be like, hey, Christopher, I got a call today from a client. Hey, we talked a year ago, and I see that rates are starting to come down. I think we want to get requalified. I'm like, yes. I send an email out once a week to everybody that I know, just giving an update on interest rates. And hey, we talked a while back. Let me know when you're ready. Trying to get people to understand and watch the news, because mortgage rates coming down has been in the news. People are starting to
Yeah.
hear it in the mainstream news.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, shoot, when's our lease up? Maybe we really, who's that mortgage guy again that we met on Zoom and did the mortgage planning session with? He was the bald, really good looking guy. Yeah, I remember him. Let's get a hold of him and see what see if he's still in the business.
Do it now before things get crazy, and then again it gets difficult to find a house. So
Exactly. The woulda, coulda, shoulda, I told you so. They don't matter. All we can do is educate our client, help them make a good decision, let them know the benefits of both either buying now or waiting, and then let them make an intelligent decision. That's how I run my business. It's obviously how you do your business. Just do your best by the client. They'll choose the best path for themselves. More times than not, it's with you, it's with me, because they know that we're out here looking out for their best interest. So, no, very cool. Listen, we're right up against our 30-minute mark. Anything else? Any specials you guys have going on, or anything that you want to promote?
Not necessarily. Again,
Okay.
everything that we offer, I will do my best to make it happen for people.
Okay.
So,
That's awesome. Hey, give us your
yeah.
phone number. What's the best way to reach you?
My cell phone number is 480-495-8526.
Okay.
Or email is just Cody at mfcoflooring.com.
MFCO Flooring, the whole thing.com.
Yep.
Got it. Cody, I know I will see you soon at one of our meetings, one of our Accelerant events, I'm sure. And then we'll
Yep.
see if we can continue to get our clients to give you a call. Thanks, buddy. Good to see you.
I appreciate you, Chris.
You got
Take
it.
care.
Take care, man. Bye-bye.